I don't want kids anymore. But my spouse thinks we're trying soon. I 32F always thought I wanted kids. Not in a dreamy fantasy way, but in a practical, assumed part of adulthood way, like getting married, finding a career, eventually having a family. My husband 34M and I talked about children while dating, during our engagement, and throughout the first years of our marriage. It wasn't a question of if but when. Back then, the idea felt comforting. It felt like a future we were building together, something stable and predictable and meaningful. He's always been incredible with kids, patient, sweet, goofy in the best way, and I used to imagine him as a father and think, yes, that's the life I want. But somewhere over the last 2 years, something inside me shifted. I can't pinpoint a single moment, it feels more like a slow, quiet change that took root without me noticing. I started feeling anxious around the conversations we used to have so casually. When he'd talk about baby names, my stomach tightened. When he'd point out cute kids at the grocery store, my mind went blank instead of warm. When friends had babies, I felt happy for them but completely indifferent about the idea for myself. I kept telling myself it was just stress, exhaustion, the pandemic, my job, anything but a real change in what I wanted from life. But the feeling hasn't gone away. It's gotten louder. And lately, it's starting to feel like grief for a version of myself I thought I'd be. Meanwhile, my husband's excitement has only grown. He talks about kids with this softness in his voice that breaks me because I remember when I felt that softness too. He describes what kind of dad he wants to be. He jokes about whose features the baby would get. He brings up timelines, gently, not pushy, just hopeful, maybe in the next year? Maybe start trying soon? I always smile, nod, or deflect with "we'll see." But the guilt is eating me alive because last week I found out, completely by accident, that he told his family we're planning to start trying soon. His mom hugged me and said she can't wait to be a grandmother, and I froze so hard she thought I didn't hear her. I'm terrified of disappointing him. Terrified of breaking his heart. Terrified that the moment I say the truth, our marriage will tilt into something we can't level out again. Part of me wonders if I'm scared of motherhood specifically or scared of losing the life we built. I love our quiet routines, late dinners, spontaneous trips, lazy weekends, the comfort of just being together without responsibilities stretching beyond ourselves. I love the freedom we have, the emotional space, the ability to be two separate people without being tied to a third tiny being who needs everything from us. I see friends with kids and they look exhausted. I see marriages strained under the weight of childcare, finances, sleep deprivation. I see people losing themselves. And I can't shake the fear that becoming a mom would swallow me whole in a way I wouldn't recover from. My husband, on the other hand, sees the beauty in it, the laughter, the memories, the legacy. I used to see it too. Now I feel like I'm betraying both of us by not wanting it anymore. What scares me most is that my husband has never once entertained the idea of not having kids. It was always our shared destination, the map we built our marriage on. I don't know if he'd forgive me for changing direction. I don't know if he'd stay. I don't know if asking him to let go of fatherhood is the same thing as asking him to let go of who he is. He has no idea I'm feeling any of this because every time I try to say the words out loud, my throat closes. How do you confess to the person you love most that a dream you built together no longer feels like yours? How do you tell someone who's already picturing holding their baby that you don't want to take that step with them? I'm afraid the truth will ruin everything, but hiding it feels like betrayal too. I'm stuck between two futures, one I don't want and one I'm terrified to admit. I don't know how to tell my spouse that I don't think I want kids anymore. I don't even know who I am in this moment, someone afraid, someone selfish, someone honest, someone lost. But I do know this, if I keep pretending, eventually the truth will break us anyway.